Hi, everyone. Welcome to Young and Hungry. I'm Matt Busch, and I'm joined by Filippin, my coworker and our esports enthusiast here at Revel.
That's me.
That is
The
you,
esports
Brooks.
enthusiast.
Why don't you tell the people a little bit about your background, a little bit of background of esports, and then about the Overwatch League, which is going to be the segment of this week's podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nat. I work in the esports department here at Revel. It's definitely a larger segment of what we do now because of the rise of gaming in the youth and how much digital presence esports brings to marketing strategies and marketing campaigns. It's definitely on the mind of a lot of people right now. So, Overwatch League, really exciting for a few reasons. Franchising, it's probably I'd say the second most popular FPS, which is first person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a lot of unique things, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, one interesting thing about the Overwatch League is they've kind of taken the traditional sports model of franchising and applied that to esports. So it's more of a traditional sports model focused into esports, and they got some big names involved in ownership too from the traditional sports side.
Yeah, and what's interesting is esports typically, when you have teams in esports, they're usually in one location.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these teams will have gaming houses, coaches, staff, and they like to keep them close. And a lot of the teams, so Santa Monica, LA,
a lot of hive houses,
Diamond Bar, California. So they all group together now. It's hard to capture geographic audiences when you have everyone in one spot. Now, what's interesting about Overwatch is when they introduced the franchise league in 2016, they did something different in that they positioned their teams with specific geographic locations, even if they're all still in LA. For example, the London Spitfire, the San Francisco Shock, different things like that. LA Valiant,
Yeah, it's interesting to see that kind of geographic model, even though, esports is such a digital presence where it's not really, you don't have to, drive to the stadium and see it. You can be on a plane and watch a final from your phone if they have Wi-Fi on the plane. But
I mean, that's
always the
beauty
big
of
if,
esports.
right? Depends on where you're flying.
Totally.
Let's get into some of the news surrounding the partnerships that have come around the Overwatch League. So Coke recently just signed a 3-year deal to become the exclusive non-alcoholic beverage for the Overwatch League. So we're talking multi-year, big deal.
Yep.
What are your kind of initial thoughts on that?
I can see it. Yeah. Coke is maybe one of the largest brands in the world.
Right.
If you look at the numbers, I think in 2018, Overwatch had something like 150 million hours watched.
Wow.
Which to any brand should be an attractive number. Obviously, that was in its first year. Okay, so there was a lot of hype being built. There's a $20 million franchise tag that teams had to pay just to get in the league.
Talking about that hype from the first year, how do you think it's going to transition to the second year? Do you think it's going to continue on success, or do you think it's going to start to fizzle out with some of the larger competitors in the esports space, new game titles that have come in?
So from a brand perspective, I think they should be investing.
Yeah.
But I think they should invest with caution because there are parts of Overwatch that I believe, and I know other industry people resonate with as well, is that if you look at most of the most played esports and top esports games, they're free to play.
Yeah.
Let's talk League of Legends, Fortnite, Apex Legends is coming into fruition. Overwatch is a $60 game. Now, if you want to, what these brands see is they see a growing audience. Yeah. They see hours watched. They see impressions. That's the beauty of esports. But in order to see growth in this esport, you need to increase your user base, and then you need to translate that player base into a fan of esports.
Right.
Because they don't, if you play the game, doesn't mean you watch it professionally.
Right.
And if you are looking to have people watch your game professionally, what's the first place you look? It's the people that play your game. But if you're selling a $60 game, there's a little bit of a barrier to entry there.
Okay? Yeah, there is.
Because it's more than just download for free.
Right, but
there's a $60
that being said, a
entrance
counterpoint, the $60 price tag hasn't really held back the explosion of the game and how much it's grown. And from a partnership perspective, another one, non-endemic, T-Mobile partnering with the Overwatch team, the Houston Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
They've partnered with a couple teams in the Overwatch space. One interesting thing about brands, and especially the non-endemics, why I think they've been eager to jump and partner with the Overwatch League, is that traditional sports model. So it's something, these are large Fortune 500 companies that have been doing sponsorships in the sports realm for a while, and now transitioning to something that's new, like esports. I think it makes it easier for them to transition because it's something comfortable. It's a league setup. It's a franchisee. It's something more relatable versus the traditional sports side to the esports side. It's a nice transition. So I think that's why you see some of these larger brands like the Cokes, T-Mobiles, and a number of other non-endemic brands getting involved with Overwatch League in specific.
Totally. And what's interesting is that in traditional sports, you have a team, right? Now, I wouldn't necessarily say every player on that team is an influencer. You'll have Steph Curry, you'll have LeBron James. Those guys are big time.
But then you also have the JaVale McGee's and
right. But what's cool about
JaVale might be an influencer. That dude's a unicorn in itself.
What's interesting about esports is these guys play the game on Twitch or Caffeine TV or any of the other streaming platforms. YouTube gaming is taking off a little bit as well. They can be more of an influencer. So when you think of a team, you have the team and you have 5 players.
Right.
And those 5 players can promote your brand. They can activate. They can do different things. They can engage the audience. And that is what brands are looking for.
Definitely.
Audience engagement, reception, and, ultimately trying to translate that to more
ROI,
digital presence, ROI.
Sales. Yeah, and I think,
that cash.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Cash, that moolah. But
that's why we're here too.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you brought up a good point with these influencers and kind of the different ways they can activate with the brands. And then you brought streaming up, which is kind of an interesting transition for the Overwatch League. They recently just announced a TV deal with Disney. Disney Corporation. So they're going to have 3 matches on Disney XD. And then they're going to have, for stages 1 and 2, the semifinals and the finals, including the All-Star game, is going to be broadcast on ABC. So large, national channel broadcast. Pretty impressive there. And then stage 3 finals are going to be on ESPN2. So another, large platform for them to, break into the masses and kind of get that more traditional sports feel rather than just being streamed on Twitch or YouTube Gaming or any of these other platforms that you mentioned.
When you say Disney XD, it screams children to me, which is fine. Children typically don't spend their parents' money, right? Well, so maybe that is the goal. CocaCola, anyone will buy a Coke.
Yeah.
Coke, right? Even a kid. But I think that when Disney, if Disney XD does start putting these games on their platform. I know that Disney owns Hulu, so we can see if we're looking into the future, we might be seeing Overwatch and the Overwatch League being put on more of a streaming site, right, and maybe we transition away from Twitch a little bit, which I think is the goal that Disney's going for. I think that's what they're trying
to do because they're doing it with ESPN Plus. They have their own streaming services, and Disney's kind of all over the map. So I think that's kind of their goal is branching out of Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where it went. I think when I was like 9 or 10, I went to Mexico for a little missions trip, and I remember turning on the TV and StarCraft was on, StarCraft 1, and I didn't know anything about the game. Okay, not a single thing, but I remember watching it at early in the morning. For the only reason I watched it was because it was weird and it was cool and I'd never seen video games on TV.
Yeah.
If they can replicate that success with the youth, then 2 things can happen. 1, you're gonna see them come back to your platform, and 2, maybe they go buy the game.
Yeah.
Right. So there's we're playing both sides here. I mean, Blizzard wants to sell. Right. The more games they sell, the more they can promote their esport. The more they can promote their esport, possibly the more they can sell. Right. So we're constantly going back and forth on where we can make money. So that's what I'm hoping for. But we'll see. We'll see. It's the second season. Hopefully those numbers stay up. Hopefully people still care about the game. Because there's a significant investment from the teams.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a joke. I mean, there are investors out there that want to see ROI. So this game needs to last 10 years. And if you want that to happen in competition with all the other successful esports right now, you have to make moves. Disney XD, ABC.
ABC, yep. And ESPN too.
And ESPN. It's gonna have to be successful.
Under the Disney umbrella, but 3 different ventures with 3 different sizes of audiences and scopes, but kind of getting at that overall goal. I think Brooks brings up a good point about the changing landscape of the games and trying to build something that's longevity for 10 years. So transitions nicely into our trivia question of the day. You'd mentioned Apex.
Hit me with it.
Yeah, Apex Legends. You had mentioned that earlier.
Uh-huh.
So it's a new game for people that don't know. It's a battle royale game. And
released by Respawn, owned by EA. You know what? Let me talk about how cool Apex Legends is. Okay, I've played a few games. I'm really bad at video games. Okay, I really just like the. I'm not. I like the business side of esports. I'm not good at the games. But here's the coolest part about Apex Legends. Nobody knew it was coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, it was rumored. It was rumored like a week before. People said, "Oh, I heard Titanfall 2 is releasing a battle royale."
Yeah.
Okay, and then boom. Monday comes around, Apex Legends drop, and in less than 48 hours, 10 million subscribers. In less than a week, 25 million downloads.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the trivia question. I was going to ask Brooks how many downloads in the first 10 days about Apex Legends, but he answered it already. So, congratulations, Brooks.
Was that really the question?
That was the question I was going to ask. And
he didn't tell me.
I didn't. We did not plan that. This kid's just, like I said, esports enthusiast. The dude's knowledgeable. But thanks again, Brooks, for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for everyone tuning in. And we're going to keep on doing this, every week or so. Just try and keep you up to date on what's been going on in esports and the business side of things. So
yeah, exciting stuff.
Yeah, looking
every day
forward.
It's changing, baby.
It totally is. It's a ever-changing landscape, and we're gonna try and keep you up to date with how those changes are happening. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys later.